ranger. Gone? Why did he leave? And what? What I wish to discuss with you can wait for once I get settled in the command room, outsider. What I wish to discuss with you can wait for once I get settled in the command room, outsider.
McNamar's done a pretty good job, given the situation he was handed.
Evening.
When you first showed up on our doorstep, I'll admit at first I didn't know what to think. After giving the matter some thought, however, I've decided that an outsider could be of great use to me right now. However, I will not force you to help us. Should you refuse, you will be allowed to leave here. Though no, we will be keeping an eye on you. What do you say, outsider? Are you willing to help us? Then allow me to explain our situation. This bunker is currently locked down, allowing no entry or exit, with you being one of the few exceptions. In exceptional cases, teams are sent out to investigate sites or retrieve materials deemed too important to ignore. 3 such teams have gone missing recently, and the news of their disappearance has not yet been widely spread to avoid undue concern. In order to maintain the peace and adhere to the strictures of the lockdown, I need to send someone else to discover what happened to them. I'm glad I can count on you. Oh, and one other thing. The patrols each had a holotape detailing their missions that you can use to track them. The shielding of the bunker prevents us from actively tracking them, but their positions should show up on your map once you get to the surface. Should our worst fears become realized, please bring back all 3 of the holotapes from the patrols. Otherwise, bring our brothers home. I've given the order that you be given access to some of the equipment our scouts and patrols have scavenged over the years. You won't be allowed to purchase any prohibited equipment, but hopefully some of what's available will prove useful to you.
So, you're the outsider that's been given leave to wander around freely. Desperate time. Name's Hardin. I'm the head paladin of this chapter, and I think we might... I don't know what the Elder talked to you about, but I can tell you this chapter is in trouble. Are you willing to listen to... As you may have already heard, this entire base is under a state of lockdown. No one goes out except small patrols at night. Most of the chapter has been sealed in here for years, and those few who were outside when the lockdown was initiated are forbidden from returning. Morale has plummeted as time has gone by, and many of our current paladins haven't seen combat outside of training simulations, and all because of the Elder's explicit order that no one be allowed in or out. The only way things will change is if a new Elder is installed. Of course I have, many times in fact. The Elder has an open-door policy and will listen to advice on any subject save this one. He refuses to see that our isolation is slowly weakening us. Aside from being our duty, going out on missions is what kept us strong. And because he fails to see that, he must be replaced. I don't know. I've gone through our records dozens of times looking for a precedent regarding the dismissal of an Elder and come up with nothing. The people who are most likely to know how it could be done are also some of McNamara's strongest supporters, so they refuse to help me, which is why we're having this conversation. An outsider such as yourself would arouse less suspicion asking questions about such matters. The fact that the Elder has some tasks for you means his faithful won't suspect you, and you have a line open to the man himself. In short, you're in a perfect position to help me. That'll have to do. I'd recommend going to see Ramos first, as head of security. You could also try to find something relevant in our data store, though last I heard Scribe Ibsen is having a bit of a problem. And if McNamara should give you any tasks, I'd ask that you kept me abreast of them. Report anything you find to me. And
Hello.
Look, this isn't a great time. Oh, what the hell. It's not like we're making any progress. I'm Ibsen, and... Yeah, I'm in charge of keeping this data system up and running, but accessing it is... One of our exploratory patrols, back when we had exploratory patrols, found a data disk in some... Well, we finally got around to cataloging the damn thing and got shut out of our own data store the second it loaded. Turns out it had a Oh, there are patrols, just not exploratory ones. We've been in a state of lock. The only time anyone gets to go topside is guard duty, or to gather provisions. Other than... Nah, it's not so bad. The world outside isn't exactly a paradise, you know? We've got more than a few people in here who are going a little stir-crazy. I don't have time to think about silly things like politics. I could use some assistance, sure, but I highly doubt you have the I suppose it couldn't hurt to get another pair of eyes on this. While the entire system is infected, the virus itself is spread across 3 terminals. The problem is that it keeps moving, We'll have it nailed down in a terminal or 2, only to have it jump to another set of terminals before... You'll need to locate it on 3 different terminals in this area in 1 minute. Any longer and it'll jump, and you'll... Locating the virus would probably be nearly impossible. But the pompous little bastard that wrote it made things a little easier. Normally, terminals infected by the virus just display gibberish. But we found that terminals the virus moved to had some real data passed to them. We were able to decrypt the data and discovered that it was just messages from the virus's writer taunting his victims. When you find terminals with those messages, lock them down and move on. Find 3 of them before the virus jumps. To maximize your chances, wait for my signal before you begin.
How may I assist you?
Hello.
The virus just jumped. Find which terminals it went to.
Hello.
Ten seconds. That's it. We got it. The virus has been purged. You actually did it. If you don't mind my saying so, I didn't think you had a chance in hell. But I'm glad to be wrong for once. Thank you, my friend. Please feel... I'm only allowed to give you access to non-classified topics, but it's better than nothing, right? I can understand how the man might be frustrated by the current situation. He's a take-charge sort of fellow. Standing around's not his strong suit. I myself often wish we could end this interminable stasis and begin moving forward again. Well, you'd have to get a senior-level member of the chapter to unlock a topic for you. The majority of topics fall under Ramos's aegis, since they'd You might have better luck with another member of the senior staff. Try to... Oh, all kinds of...
All right,
Hey,
then.
Hello again, my friend.
What is it, outsider? Yes, I know the loss of the patrols has weighed heavily on his mind for some time. That was when I first began to seriously question his ability to lead us. A commander... It's strange that he would ask you to find mission discs on them, however. The missing paladins were all on standard patrols, which don't need them. Only brothers sent on special assignments are given mission discs. If you should find... What is it, outsider? After lifting the lockdown, the first thing I'd do is send scouts out to recon... Next, I'd resume patrols in the near vicinity, and begin sending search teams out to the spots the scouts... It's standard procedure when a chapter relocates to an area. But standard procedure wasn't our last elder...
your presence here, let's just say it's... Outsiders aren't even allowed to know that our bunker's here, let alone come and go. You impressed Elder McNamara, obviously. He must believe... That's right. Nothing gets in or out of here without me knowing. Normally, that would have fallen under my jurisdiction, but the Elder thought it'd provide a good test for you. Under the lockdown, only essential personnel are permitted to enter or leave. That includes supply. All other personnel are forbidden to leave, and any personnel that were out there when the lockdown was in... So, you've been talking to Harden, eh? He's been looking for... Don't get me wrong, he's a good man. But Elder McNamara has done all right by us. If it weren't for him, none of us would have survived at Helios. I'll tell you what I told Harden. There have been only a few cases of elders being dismissed from their posts in the Brotherhood's history. And those involve crimes that someone like Elder McNamara is just not capable of. You can look it up for yourself if you want. I'll grant you access to that portion of the history section of our data store. See Senior... I'm sure someone's told you all this before. Several years back, we were running our chapter out the Helios 1 solar power station. Our elder at the time, Elijah, had some kind of obsession with the place, which is the only reason we stayed as long as we did. That place was hardly defensible, and we knew the NCR was moving in on us, but the Elder refused to budge, insisting that he just needed more time. We never found out what he needed time for. Wave upon wave of NCR troopers hit us from all directions. We held out for a time, but we were grossly outnumbered, and they had more men than we had ammo. Eventually, our positions collapsed. Elder Elijah was nowhere to be found, so McNamara took charge and led what remained of us on a counteroffensive west. We lost a lot of men and women, but we broke through and made it here. Make no mistake, McNamara saved this Who was Elijah, more like? He was our elder before McNamara. Bright guy, but just between you and me, he was a little off. Our mission is to recover and preserve the technology of the past, but Elijah wanted more. He sought ways to improve upon technology, make it better. When we found Helios 1, he was like a kid in a candy store, kept talking about the potential and a grand design never realized. He even insisted we set up our base there, against the objection of nearly every paladin. What followed is a whole... Does Ramos know you're walking around without a guard?
The bunker takes a... We have a duty to preserve the past.
Our former elder, Elijah, was obsessed with new technology. That's
why we were at Helios in the first place. Harden open. Then you bring your second unit. Then you bring your second unit.
Does Ramos know you're walking around without a guard?
What is it, outsider?
Hello again, my friend.
The bunker takes a little getting used to, doesn't it?
What is it, outsider? I could hardly call myself head paladin if I didn't. It's one of the first things every initiate learns when they start training. I could be wrong, but I think that's a dead end. McNamara's always followed orders, and we've been incommunicado since...
There are whispers that McNamara's lost it.
We have a duty to preserve the past.
Oh, hey there. That's an old principle that's been around since the Brotherhood was founded. It basically means that you have to obey a superior officer. It's pretty much common sense, but it gets invoked a lot when people get pissy about following orders. If you're curious, I'll give you access to the data store entry on it. You'd probably be the first...
Doesn't feel like possible. Watch your scorpions. Looking for a place to pitch your tent? Let's distribute the weight. Let's deal. Careful where you flash that. Let's see what you got. Glad I left the outpost behind.
How may I serve you, mistress? Unauthorized facial pattern. Please present credentials for first floor access. Please do not make your way to the... How may I serve you, mistress? Third floor access is for executives only. Please identify. Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day. Unauthorized facial pattern. Invalid. How may I serve you, mistress?
Can hear the screaming of rockets and explosions in this place at night. Inside the lucky third. Let's distribute the weight. Doesn't feel like the rest of the Mojave here.
We just had word that the town of Prem
After
is
the
now
battle
part
with
of the
Helios
NCR.
1, some people
At this
were worried
rate,
about
they'll
the
be running the
NCR
whole
coming after
region
us.
soon.
But this bunker is secure.
The word came down from the Elder that I'm to offer you some of our lesser wares. If you must know, my inventory check this week shows that our weapon count is 1 short. Hardin will have my head if I don't find that weapon soon. I can't... If you happen to find it, bring it here right away. I might be able to
We just had word that the town of Prem is...
Doc Schuler is a lifesaver. I was hurt in training the other day and she fixed me right up.
Hello. We just had word that the town of Prim is now part of the NCR. At this rate,